Hey everyone, this is Mac, and today we are going to solve another question of object-oriented programming. Now, let's see. This question is from question number 5, May June 2018, a recent one, variant 4.3. Now, the question is saying a computer game is being developed using object-oriented programming. That's great. The following image is a screenshot from the game. Now, when we look at this image, most of the students were afraid like what question has come, but we have nothing to deal with this image, believe me. Let's move forward. Now there are scenery elements and animated elements. So the main concept over here the examiner wants to give is the scenery element and animated elements belongs to the game. Both are belonging to game, and the player's character is one of the animated elements. So player's character is depending on a animated element. So scenery elements and animated elements are depending on the game, and player is depending on animated element because player's character is one of the animated elements. So we need to grab the points from here. Now the examiner is saying that each game element has attributes, and we have multiple attributes over here like position x, position y, width, height, image, and each game element has a method. Now that method name is getDetails, that returns a string, that will return a string containing all elements attributes. Okay, so getDetails, it will be a, we know that get methods are function, it will be a function that will be displaying all the parameter values, all the attributes values. And player's character is one of the number of animated elements. Again it's repeating the same point that player is depending on player is a animated element. Now the player's character is one of the animated the player's character is one of the numbers of animated elements. All animated elements have attributes, animation frames, direction, strength, and health, and we have certain values of all that. But we can see over here that animated frames, the data type is game element. The players can move left or right or jump. The player can move left or right, or it can jump as well. Now these are the class diagrams, and we need to complete these class diagrams. First look at this game element class. This has the following attributes: 1 2 3 4 5 attributes, and we have the data types over here, and we have one constructor, and we have getDetails. Now we have seen in the question that scenery and animated elements were depending on the game element, and the player was depending on the animated element. So we have completed the inheritance of the question. Now scenery class is also completed. We don't have to do anything, but let's discuss this class as well. Cost damage, it will be a boolean, and damage points, it will be integer. Again constructor, again damage, give damage points, it's a function, it's a method. We will see later on in the question. Now let's complete animated element class. Now we know that animated element class, animated frames array of game element, one of the attributes is declared. Constructor adjust health, adjust strength, display animation. So we don't have adjust health and adjust strength attributes. So let's look at this attributes table as well. So we can see strength and health are given over here, so we can just declare them in our question, in our class, strength and health. So strength th, strength, the data will be, we can see the data example is 2000, so it will be integer. And over here health, the data will be again integer. And I guess we are done with the class. We have a constructor, we have adjust health, we have adjust strength, we have display animations. Now in the player class we will be having only one attribute, that will be directions, because a string giving the directions, the object is traveling in, and player can be move left, right, or jump. So we can have over here a variable that can be named as directions, and move left, a method, move right, a method, and move jump, a method. And I guess class we are done with the first part of the question. Now let's move forward. We have declared the attributes, we have completed the class. Now the examiner is asking you to write the program code for the game element class. Now we all know the programming language that we are using is VB.NET, and that is console mode. And before writing the code, let's see the class again. This was the class, and the examiner is asking to create this class, and I guess it's a very easy task now for you guys to create this class. Let me help you again with this. So let me insert the class over here so we can solve that class in parallel. Here you go. We need to create this class, and we all know the keyword for the class is class. The name of the class is game element. Now the attributes are, we have 5 attributes: position x, position y, width, height, and image file name. And we have the data types for all of them, so let's declare them. Private position x, comma, position y, comma, width, comma, height, and all of them are as integer. So we are done, and the last attribute, that is image file name, that will be a string. So let me declare that is string as well. That will be also private. Image file name, and that will be as string. Now let's make the constructor, and you all know it's very easy for you guys to make the constructor now. Public sub new bracket open, and x, y, width, height, and image file name. And sorry, I haven't write the data type, so that will be wrong. X as integer, comma, y as integer, comma, w as integer, comma, height, h as integer, and the last one was image file name as string. Now we haven't declared, we haven't write by well or by ref over here at the starting, so by default we all know that it's by well. Now let me initialize the values. So position x is equal to x, new line, position y is equal to y, width is equal to W, and height is equal to H, and the last one is image file name will be equal to IFN. And we are done class with the constructor, and I'm going to end the procedure over here and sub. So we have initialized all the parameters with the assigned parameter, we have assigned all the attributes, position x, position y, position width, height, with the assigned parameters x, y, w, h, and I, f, n for the image file name. And we have ended the procedure over here. Now let's make the second constructor, that is get details. And get details is it will be a function, and it will be returning the values of each method. So it's very easy again. So we all know how to create a function. Public function, and the name of function is get details. And the function will return a string as mentioned in the question. So we have a function, the name of the function is get details, and it's going to return a string. And what function is going to return is just going to return the values of the parameters. So starting with the first one, I declared a variable over here. That variable is dim message as string, and I said message will be equal to the first thing that we were having, that was position x, and we are concatenating the strings over here and the variable over here, position x. Similarly, and position y, and concatenation position variable position y. Again AND operator, that will be width and again concatenation, that will be after which we were having the height and height, and after height we were having the image file name. So and image, the variable was image file name, image file name. And I guess we are done with all the parameters, so all the variables, all the attributes. So we are going to just return the value of stored in message. So return message, and we are going to end function over here, end function, and club, we are going to end our class over here, that will be end class as well. So we have completed the class that was game element. We created the class that was game element. Now let's move forward. Let's see the next part of the question. The examiner is giving only 6 marks for this much creation of the class. Now the examiner is saying there is a scenery class has 2 attributes. The scenery class has 2 attributes, cause damage and cause damage points. If cause damage is true, then the scenery element cause the damage. The method give damage points checks whether the object can cause damage. If the object can cause damage, means that cause damage value is true, then this means that the object can cause the damage. Then the method will return integer value of the damage points. Okay, and else if it cannot cause damage, then we are not going to return anything about the damage points, but still we need to return anything, so we are going to return over there 0. Now the examiner is asking to create the class of the scenery class, and we again need to create that class, and we all know that the programming language we are going to use is VB.NET, and that is console mode. Now let's create this class as well. Before we move forward, let's see, this is our scenery class and the examiner is asking us to create this class. We can see we have cause damage, we have damage points, we have a constructor, but this time class we need to initialize the attributes of the scenery class as well, and this is inherited with the base class, and the base class, the parent class, is game element. Okay, so we need to initialize all the parameters again in the scenery class as well. Okay, so without wasting, and give damage points we have discussed, so without wasting any time, let's create this class. We know the keyword of the class is class, the name of the class is game element, and this class is inherited with the game class, game element class. This is inherited with game element class. Oh sorry, I am writing over here, we need to write the code over here. So again we need to create the class scenery, and this class is inherited with game element. So we have shown the inheritance in the coding form, we have shown the inheritance in the coding form, we have shown this inheritance part in the coding form, that this scenery class inherits the game element. Now we need to create the class. We have two objects, attributes, cause damage and damage points. So let's declare them as well. We all know that it will be private cause damage, and it was as boolean, and the other attribute was damage points, that was integer damage points as integer. Now we need to create the constructor, so I write over here, again it's very easy, public sub new and x as integer, comma y as integer, comma w as integer, h as integer, comma ifn as integer. And now class, you must be thinking that why the teacher is writing x, y, w, h and ifn. That was based on from the previous our parent class. So we need to initialize the parameters of, sorry, I again write in the wrong portion. We need to copy that code over here. So okay, let me change class scenery, and it inherits game element. Fine. Now you must be thinking that why I am writing over here x, y, w, h and ifn, because these belongs to my parent class and I need to initialize all the parameters, all the attributes from my parent class as well. But in the parent class I declared them as private instead of protected. I declare them private. So I need to when you declare them as private, now you need to use the keyword that will be my base.new, just to tell the compiler that these attributes, these parameters belongs to your parent class. Now let's declare the parameters of the main class cause damage. So I can write cd cause damage, and the data will be as boolean, comma, and the last one will be damage point. So dp is fine as integer, and I ended my constructor over here. Now I told my base dot new, and I told that these are the methods that are from my base x, y, w, h, and I, f, n. These all belongs to my base class. Now I need to declare the current child class parameters. So that is, one of them is cause damage. So cause damage will be equal to class cd, and class damage points will be equal to dp, and class, we are done with the constructor, that will be end sub. Now let's see again the class. We have initializes the attributes cause damage and damage points. We have make the constructor. Now the last stuff is give damage points. We need to create this method, and you can see we have an explanation for the damage points. The examiner has given us the explanation that the method give damage points check whether the object can cause damage. If the object can cause damage value is true, then return the damage points as return 0. Okay, so we need to create a function over here, and let me create that function. So we all know that public function, and the name was give damage points. Give damage points, and the data will be integer as integer. This is the data for the function. Now class, without wasting any time, let's check if cause damage is equal to true, then return damage points, else return 0, and if, and class end function. And again we are going to end our class over here, so it will be end class. So we are done class with this question as well. We have created the class of the scenery, we have initialized the attributes, we have done all the stuff that was required in the question. Moving forward, now the examiner is asking a new scenery object. We now need to create an object. The name of the object is gift box to be created, and the attributes values are given over here, that you need to initialize these values. So not a problem for us now. So we need to create the class for the gift box, and again we know that the programming language is VB.NET, and it will be console mode. And let's declare dim. The variable name is gift box as scenery. We need to create a scenery as scenery object. Scenery is equal to new scenery. I told you that this new keyword, what it does, it created an instance of the class. It initializes the memory in the class. Scenery and we need to initialize the objects now. The first one is position, x value is 150, 150, 50, 75, box dot png true 50 and class. We are done. 3 marks. We created an object of the class Scenary and we initialized all the values. So that's it. Moving forward. Now again let's see another question. Now the examiner is saying an additional method and the name of that method is getScenary returns all the attributes from the Scenary class. We know the attributes of the Scenary class were here you go, cause damage and damage point. These were the attributes from the Scenary class. Okay, fine. Now the program for the getScenary method, you should use getDetails method from that the Scenary class inherits from the GameElement class. Now we need to include one of the method from our parent class in our subclass, in our child class. So without wasting any time, let's create this method as well. So the programming language will be class VB.NET and this will be console mode. Now we need to just create the function, write the program code for the getScenary method. So we all know that it will be public function getScenary and it will return us a string. So the data type of the function will be string. Now again I declared one of the variable over here, dim message as string, and now let's look at over here. I told message is equal to my base dot get details. So we know that getDetails method, this method getDetails belongs to my base, so it will return me all the values of the attributes that are contained in my base class, and it will be stored in the variable that is named as message. Now in the subclass that was Scenary, I have 2 more methods. Now I need to add them as well. So we all know message is equal to message, all the containing all the values of the parent class, and now we need to add the damage and the 2 attributes of the base class. So we know the 2 attributes are cause damage and it value over here cause damage, and the other one will be damage points. And operator concatenation, and I'm going to add the last stuff that will be damage points. And now this method message containing all the values from the parent class, the attributes values from the parent class, and the cause damage value and damage points are added. Now this message containing all the stuff that is required, and we are just going to return its value, that will be return message, and we are going to end our function over here, that will be end function, and class we are done. 3 points. So it was a long question and we solved this question. Okay, this type of questions comes in the examination because it was given in your pre-release material in 2018, but currently the current scenario is not will not focus on object-oriented programming that much. It will give you, the examiner will give you a simple question of the object-oriented programming. It won't be this much difficult because this year the pre-release material contained different stuff, hash tables, hashings, recursion, and declarative programming. So we are going to focus on that stuff as well. So that's it for now. Watch the video. If you have any questions regarding any of the concept, you can just comment or WhatsApp me in my group, so I am going to answer your query. Thank you.